press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello everyone. In the last class we had discussed about the classification, right? So what are classification, and also we had discussed about evolution. What is evolution and relationship between evolution and classification. We had also discussed about the classification done by different biologists, the 2-kingdom classification, 3-kingdom, 4, and then R.H. Whitaker's 5-kingdom classification that contains Monera, Protista, fungi, plantae and Animalia, right? And also we had discussed about the hierarchy of classification. So what is hierarchy? That is the different levels of classification. You can also call it as categories or ranks like kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus and species. And when you classify the organisms, as the category becomes smaller, you will reach the basic level of classification, that is species, where the organisms are similar and have very less differences. Right? So that was about the hierarchy of classification, and we also had discussed about the nomenclature, the scientific naming of organisms, that it contains genus and species name. For example, Homo, the genus, sapiens, species, Homo sapiens. It is collectively called as scientific name or else the binomial nomenclature, right? And we also had discussed about the convention regarding to write the scientific name, the binomial nomenclature, right? So today let us discuss about the kingdoms classified by R.H. Whitaker, right? So coming to the biological classification, so here the kingdom Monera, the prokaryotes. In that Monera again it is differentiated, okay, it is again classified by Carl Woese, right, that is eubacteria and archaebacteria, later the Protista, then fungi, plantae and Animalia, right. So here as you notice, the prokaryotes, they develop or modify into the eukaryotes, right, and then these eukaryotes, they are unicellular, and very some of them are multicellular over here in the Protista, some of them are multicellular, and this eukaryotic unicellular organisms, they further develop into the multicellular eukaryotic organisms, right? And this multicellular eukaryotic organism contains the cell wall. The organisms will have cell wall, but the cell wall is somewhat weak compared to the cell wall of plantae. The cell wall of plantae is rigid and strong compared to the cell wall of fungi. So here some modifications, right, and later came the Animalia without the cell wall with the plasma membrane. Okay, so this is a brief classification or a brief explanation regarding biological classification. Next, moving on to the schematic representation of classification, right. So how do we classify the organisms? Based on the fundamental characters, right, based on the basic characters, the fundamental characters, we will classify the organisms, or else organisms has been classified, right. So here organisms, initially we will see the cell structures, right, whether they are prokaryotic or eukaryotic cell. If they are prokaryotic cell, then they are grouped under Monera. If an organism, it is prokaryotic, then that organism is included in the kingdom Monera. Okay. Next, coming to the eukaryotes. Again in eukaryotes, we must see the another criteria, whether they are unicellular or multicellular, right. If they are unicellular, the organism, if it is unicellular, then we will include the organism in Protista. Okay, and if the organism is multicellular, then we will include the organisms into the higher groups. That is, next we will see the next category, that whether they have cell wall or not, right? As I said before, the organisms, the fungi and plantae, they will have cell wall, but the animalia will not have cell wall. So here that is the criteria, whether they have cell wall or whether they do not have cell wall. So if it is with cell wall, then again another criteria, that is they perform photosynthesis or not. If they do not perform photosynthesis, then that organism is included in the fungi, and if the organism is able to perform photosynthesis, then it is included in the plantae, kingdom plantae, right? And if the cell wall is absent, then that individual or else that organism is grouped under Animalia. So this is how the fundamental characters are useful to classify the organisms into broader groups. If you want to classify the organism in a broad way, then the fundamental, very basic characters are needed. And if you further classify the organisms like around family, order or family, genus, then you must see each and every character, right? Each and every character, whether they are similar or dissimilar. But if you want to classify broadly, the fundamental characters are enough. Like kingdom Monera, they are unicellular, and again unicellular prokaryotic, and Protista, they are unicellular eukaryotic, and in the multicellular organisms with cell wall, fungi and plantae, without cell wall, the Animalia. Okay, so this is the schematic representation, like how we classify the organisms. Further, let us discuss the organisms. So let us discuss the kingdom one by one, that is Monera, Protista, fungi, plantae and Animalia. Let us discuss them one by one. Coming to the kingdom Monera, so these are the basic characters, that they do not have a defined nucleus or organelle. Kingdom Monera, the organisms belong to this kingdom, they do not have defined nucleus or organelle. What do you mean by this? This is that the organisms have the prokaryotic cell. These organisms have prokaryotic. That means the membrane, the nuclear membrane as well as the membrane around the organelle will be absent. That's why whatever the cell activities takes place, right? Cell activities or else pathways takes place, they will be at the cytoplasm. The pathway will be in the cytoplasm. They doesn't have any isolated area for certain pathways for different functions. Whereas in eukaryotic cell, what happens? The organelles will be present and each organelle will perform its own function. But in prokaryotic, this will not take place. That is why the prokaryotes are not able to undergo multicellular organism. They cannot develop into the multicellular organisms, and these organisms are always unicellular. So prokaryotic organisms, the monerans, will be unicellular. Okay, and here some of the monerans have cell wall, some are with cell wall and some are without cell wall. So with cell wall, for example, mycoplasma. Okay, without cell wall, for example, mycoplasma. So here this mycoplasma, it will lack the cell wall. This mycoplasma organism, for example, so it doesn't have cell wall, it lacks the cell wall, and it is the smallest living organism. It can survive without oxygen. It can survive in a condition where oxygen availability is not present. So this organism is mycoplasma, and with the cell wall, the monerans with cell wall, they are, for example, the eubacteria. Okay, and that in eubacteria, again based on the cell wall, further classification or else further division is done, that whether they are positive or negative. Gram positive bacteria, gram negative bacteria. Okay, and the monerans having cell wall, right? So it is made up of the murin. So murin is only present in the cell wall of monerans, not in any other cell wall of organisms. Okay, it is only present in the monerans, the murin. Okay, so this was about the cell wall. Next, moving on to the mode of nutrition. So in the mode of nutrition, the autotrophic and the heterotrophic. In the autotrophic, again it is divided into phototrophic and chemotrophic. So here phototrophic means the organisms photo, using sunlight. Photo means using sunlight they will perform photosynthesis, whereas chemotrophic, they will undergo certain chemical reactions, chemical pathways to gain the energy, whereas phototrophic, they will gain the energy by using the sunlight and inorganic carbon source by photosynthesis. Chemotrophic, they will undergo chemical reactions or pathways to gain energy. Okay, and in the heterotrophic, some are parasitic and saprophyte. Okay, so based on this characters, monerans have been classified. Okay, monerans have been classified based on these structures like Monera. So classification of Monera. Monera is further divided into Eubacteria and Archaebacteria. Now coming to the Archaebacteria, Archaebacteria has a special cell wall which is different than the Eubacteria, right? So Archaebacteria cell wall is specialized to survive in the extreme conditions. So these structures, the cell structures in Archaebacteria are responsible for the organisms, the Archaebacteria organisms, to survive in the extreme conditions. So based on this, their survival habitat, based on their habitat, the Archaebacteria are divided into halophytes, thermoacidophils and methanogens. So halophils, thermoacidophils and methanogens, whereas organisms which are present in the salty area, okay, some salty water like something, if they are present, the bacteria are present, then that bacteria are halophiles, and the bacteria which are present in the hot springs. I think you all know about hot springs, right? So here hot springs means the underground water which is present, it will be hot and it is released to the outer environment. So it is hot because due to the volcanic eruption, like the molten stone which is present, the molten stone, due to the volcanic eruption, the molten stone, due to that the water which is present nearby, that it will become hot, okay, and it is released to the environment, the underground water. So they are hot springs, the spring area, the water area which is hot compared to the surrounding environment. In that hot springs, the bacteria will be present and they are called as thermoacidophils. Okay, and there are some bacteria which are present in the marshy areas. Okay, so the bacteria which are present in the marshy areas, and these bacteria are called as methanogens, and these methanogens are usually present in the gut of the ruminants. So ruminants like cow, buffalo, in their gut, in the gut of cow and buffalo, the methanogens, they will be present. Okay, and these methanogens, they are responsible for the production of biogas. So these methanogens, they are responsible for the production of biogas. Then what is biogas? That is methane, right? When the cow dung is released from the ruminant, by using that cow dung we can produce the biogas. The methane is released, right? So it is the biogas, and here for the production of biogas, these methanogens are responsible. Okay, and this was about the Archaebacteria. Now coming to the Eubacteria. In the Eubacteria, again it is divided into heterotrophic and autotrophic. Heterotrophic are bacteria they depend on other organisms for food, whereas in the autotrophic, the bacteria are chemotropic and phototropes. Chemotropes and phototropes. In case of chemotropes, they are called as sulfur bacteria, and here the chemotropes, they will oxidize the nitrogen, that is the form of nitrogen, either nitrates or nitrites, okay. And the phototropes, for example cyanobacteria, blue green algae, and this cyanobacteria, so it has a pigment called chlorophyll, which is responsible for the process called photosynthesis. So photosynthetic pigment will be present in the cyanobacteria, and this is responsible for an organism to perform photosynthesis, right? So this is about the classification of monerans, and let us see some examples of monerans. So as I said, the methanogens which are present in the gut of the ruminants like cow and buffalo. So these are the methanogens, right? The methanogens. And mycoplasma, as I said, the bacteria without cell wall. So it is the methanogen, and this methanogen can survive without the oxygen, okay. And the bacteria, the eubacteria, some of the bacteria possess the cilia and flagella and some don't, okay. And the next one is cyanobacteria. This cyanobacteria, as I said, it will undergo photosynthesis. They are phototropes, right? They will undergo photosynthesis because of the presence of chlorophyll pigment, okay. So these are examples of the bacteria, that is the monerans. Coming to the kingdom Protista, okay. In the kingdom Protista, there are some characters like they are unicellular eukaryotic organisms, right. Here from prokaryotes, the organisms are developed, modified into eukaryotes in the kingdom Protista. Further, these organisms, they use appendages like cilia, flagella and pseudopodia. So here cilia are the hair-like structures, right. So as you can see, the hair-like structures are the cilia, and flagella are the whip-like structure. The flagella are whip-like structure, okay. And there are some false food called pseudopodia. Pseudopodia, false food, right. The false food, pseudopodia. So these are responsible for locomotion of an organism, okay. As you can see in the monerans, there were no such appendages, but in the Protista, the organisms have developed the appendages for the locomotion, okay. And further, the mode of nutrition. So the monerans, they have three mode of nutrition. They are autotrophic, heterotrophic and mixotrophic. So here autotrophic, they will undergo photosynthesis for the production of food, whereas heterotrophic, they will depend on other organisms. And mixotrophic. So what is this mixotrophic? Let us see. So for the example of autotrophic, algae, right? Algae is an example, but here you can also notice the cyanobacteria which was present in the monerans, right? The blue-green algae. But here in the Protista also algae will be present. So this algae from the primitive nature, so from the primitive character, it has some development, some modifications, right? In the cyanobacteria, they were in group, but they are not much efficient, they are primitive. But in the Protista, they are unicellular, okay. The algae, they are unicellular, and this algae is capable of production of food. Bari ಒಂದೇ cell ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, it will be efficient for this organism, for an algae organism, okay. But in cyanobacteria, it will be in a group, but in Protista, algae, it is unicellular, okay. And the mode of nutrition is autotrophic, for example algae, and the heterotrophic. Heterotrophic like amoeba and paramecium, they depend on other organisms for food. They doesn't have any pigments, photosynthetic pigments. Okay. Next one is the mixotropic, for example euglena. So here what is meant by mixotropic means the organism, it will utilize the sunlight and undergo photosynthesis. That is one. In the presence of photosynthesis, in the presence of sunlight, photosynthesis will take place, but in the absence of sunlight, this organism, the euglena organism, it will predate the other organism. So it will act like a heterotrophic. In presence of sunlight, autotrophic. In the absence of sunlight, heterotrophic. So we can call it as mixotrophic, right? Okay. So these are examples regarding the protista. So examples are paramecium, euglena, amoeba. Okay. So these are the example. Next, moving on to the kingdom fungi. Okay. So here this is somewhat large kingdom. Okay, and here they are heterotrophic eukaryotic organisms. Okay, have mentioned heterotrophic. They are exclusively heterotrophic organisms, right? What do you mean by heterotrophic? They depend on other organisms for food. Here no photosynthetic pigment is present. Okay, the chlorophyll is absent over here, and they are either unicellular. Okay, in case of unicellular organisms, for example yeast. So I think you all know about yeast. So yeast is a unicellular organism. So ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಿರ್ತೀರಾ yeast ಬಗ್ಗೆ? Usually it is used in a bakery products. The puffiness which you see in the bread, right? So that is because of yeast. Okay, and this yeast is a unicellular fungi. Okay, and the filamentous, some are filamentous. If they are filamentous, the body is long, slender, and have a thread-like structure called hyphae. Okay, the body is long, slender, and have a thread-like structure called hyphae. So hyphae, can you see the thread-like structures? They are hyphae, and these hyphae, the network of hyphae is collectively called as mycelium. The network of hyphae is collectively called as mycelium. So here if you notice, there is a network of hyphae called mycelium. Okay, so coming to the cell wall, I said the fungi, from the fungi or else the fungi and plantae, they include the cell wall as their major fundamental character. Okay, and the cell wall in the fungi is made up of chitin and polysaccharide. So chitin, it is a fibrous, it is also a polysaccharide but fibrous in nature. Okay, so usually you may have heard about chitin, that they are the exoskeleton of many insects, right? So that is the chitin and the polysaccharides. But here these are somewhat weak compared to the cell wall of plants. In the cell wall of plants, the cell wall which is present, it is rigid due to the presence of cellulose. But here chitin and polysaccharide, they are not much stronger. That's why the cell wall which is present, it is not that much stable compared to the cell wall of plant. Okay, so this was about the fungi, right? Some of the characteristics regarding the fungi. Next, moving on to the mode of nutrition. As I said, the fungi, they are heterotrophs, right? So here in the heterotrophs, they are saprophytes and parasites. Two type of heterotrophic organisms. One is saprophytic and parasitic. So what do you mean by saprophytic? The saprophytic organisms, they use decaying organic matter as food. Okay, these organisms, they use decaying organic matter for food. Example, mushroom. Okay, I think you all know about the mushroom, right? So these mushrooms are usually grown on the dead and decaying organic matter. Whereas another one is parasites. So these parasites, they require living protoplasm of a host organism for food. That means it will absorb, the parasites, they will absorb the soluble molecules, the simple molecules like nutrients from the plant or else from the host. Okay, they will absorb the nutrients from the host directly. That's are the parasites, and here Streptobasidium is one of the fungi which is a parasite for plants. Okay, so these are two examples. One is mushroom as saprophytes and Streptobasidium as parasite. And here, as I said, the single unicellular organisms like yeast, they are used in bakery, and some of the filamentous, the hyphae, right? So here you can see the molds on the bread or some remaining food material which you have kept for a long time. ಸೊ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಫುಡ್ ಐಟಮ್ ತುಂಬ ದಿನ ಇಟ್ಟಿರ್ತೀರ, ಸೊ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು ಲೇಯರ್, ಒಂದು ಕಾಟನಿ ಲೇಯರ್ ಥರ ಬೆಳೆದಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಫಂಗೈ, ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಮೋಲ್ಡ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ these molds, as you see the cottony like structures, they are hyphae and mycelium, and there in the cottony layer black spots ಏನಾದರೂ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ, if you find any black spots, they are the reproductive structures, the sporangia. In that the spores will be present. Again these spores, they will travel in the air, and if they get any other food source or any moist surface, they will attach and further a new fungi will be grown. That is the vegetative reproduction, the asexual reproduction which takes place in fungi. So here they bear sporangia, and inside sporangia spores will be present. Okay, and there are some useful fungi like penicillium. Okay, so molds, in the molds penicillium is one of the organism, and this penicillium, it is used as antibiotic. Okay, so this was about the fungi, right? So today we had discussed about the kingdom Monera. So in the Monera, they are prokaryotic unicellular organisms, right? And in the Protista, they are eukaryotic unicellular organisms, whereas fungi, they are eukaryotic organisms. They are heterotrophs. Here the fungi, they are multicellular, either unicellular, and if filamentous, if they are filamentous, then they are multicellular. Okay, and if you notice the evolution, if you notice the modification from one kingdom to another kingdom, you will find some development in the organisms. Like monerans, they are prokaryotics, right, single celled, they are not able to become multicellular, whereas the Protista, they are eukaryotics. In the Protista, so the evolution will take place, some modification, some variation will leads to the formation of the membrane, this nuclear membrane and membrane around the organelles. So eukaryotes alli enagutte, the isolated states like each organelle will perform its own function, which will result the cell to be efficient, and then these eukaryotes, they get the ability to develop into the multicellular organisms. Okay, unicellular in the multicellular, and in the multicellular, okay, from the unicellular to the multicellular, this multicellular fungi, they will be filamentous, thread like structures, and they will develop the cell wall. Okay, can you see the evolution? Can you see the differences from one kingdom to another kingdom, right? So this is how from the primitive organisms evolution will take place, and this evolution, it is important for an organism to group. So evolution ಆಗ್ತಾ modifications ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, variety of organisms will be increased, and this variety of organisms further they will be grouped, so they will be classified so that we can study them in a group, right? So that is the diversity of the living system. So in the next class, let us discuss about the kingdom Plantae. Okay, next class we will discuss about the variety of organisms. We will study about the organisms which are very small, the primitive organisms to the more advanced organisms. Okay, so thank you.